Hey, this is Ish, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the differences between masculine energy and feminine energy. And I know that nowadays these terms tend to be a bit charged. There's a lot of misconceptions about these terms, but I just want you to think of these energies as just energies that all human beings have. So this is not gender specific because you can have, for example, a man who has a lot of feminine energy, and likewise you can have a woman that has a lot of masculine energy. But typically what you will find is that men tend to have more masculine energy while women have more feminine energy. But in this talk specifically, I'll be going over how to spot whether you or someone you might know has just the optimal amount of feminine or masculine energy, or whether it skews to one side of being very excessive, or whether it is underdeveloped. And I'll be describing basically the different things to look for in terms of that. And specifically in this talk, I'll be going over how to spot whether these energies are either balanced, overdeveloped or excessive, or underdeveloped in both yourself and other people as well. So let's go over feminine energy. So this type of energy is a receptive energy, and it basically steps into life itself and is very connected with all things around them. So the feminine energy is really motivated by love and also being seen and also connection as well. So it is very in tune with everything around them. And this actually comes with a lot of great strengths and qualities associated with it. So when feminine energy is healthy, there are a lot of great intuitive powers that come with it and a lot of creativity. Because the reason why is that you're so attuned with the subtle fluctuations of life, every little nuance and subtleties, you're able to pick up on that. And as a result, you're able to come up with very incredible insights, a lot of new projects. You're able to see things before it happens. And that might be very mysterious and very awe-inspiring to other people. But for you, if you have a lot of healthy feminine energy, this comes very naturally because you are so attuned with everything around you. Healthy feminine energy also really likes harmony and also connecting with other people. It's very attuned to other people's emotions. And likewise, people who have healthy feminine energy have always had a lot of great connections, friendships, relationships, and they really grow from that. Feminine energy is also very responsive and also very spontaneous because you take life as it comes, you're very present to the moment, and you're able to just adapt to a lot of different things. So when a person with a lot of feminine energy has like an unexpected life situation that may rock their whole reality, they're able to actually recover from it very fast because they understand that life flows in different waves and they're able to adapt to whatever situation that comes forth. And with well-developed feminine energy, you're able to really enjoy life as it comes because it's so connected with the here and now. You're able to just take in different sensory experiences, different things that are happening in your environment, and really take it all in. So you're able to just go with the flow, really enjoy life as it comes, and there's a lot of beauty for it. So there's no reason why you should be happy or no set expectations. Rather, you can be very joyous just as you are, and that's a really great gift that the feminine energy brings forth. And this energy is actually very contagious because if you've ever met someone who's just so into whatever they're doing and they're really just very receptive and really joyous, it has an effect where it actually uplifts other people and lifts them up as well. So that's really awesome to have. Now, when you have too much of this energy without the backing of masculine energy or just a little bit of masculine energy, what tends to happen is that you're so connected with life that you actually lose your own boundaries. And when you lose your own sense of self and just merge with other people, in a negative aspect, what will happen is that you'll subtly adopt more people-pleasing behaviors. And this can also manifest as being very needy or dependent, or even speaking in a very manipulative manner because you can't really communicate directly, rather in covert means. And a funny example is actually if you've seen the show Gossip Girl, the TV show, that's actually a perfect example of excess feminine energy at play because there's a lot of indirect communication because, again, feminine energy is more receptive and kind of speaks in circles rather than a straight line, which is more associated with the masculine. And there's a lot of petty behaviors, very covert behaviors, a lot of little backstabbing here and there, and that's that's a lot of feminine energy without the backing of masculine energy. Needy behavior is also a good example of a lot of feminine energy without masculine energy because you are so wanting to be seen and cherished by others that you actually lack your own integrity and inner structure, that you now are seeking validation from other people. And that's kind of like the dark aspect of the feminine, which I'll cover in a second. Now, without the backing of the masculine, which I'll also cover in a second, what will happen is that because you don't have any structure in place and you're a bit too go with the flow and too immersed with life, what will eventually manifest is that you will have a lack of purpose or mission in life. So you tend to go along with the flow so much that you don't have any clear purpose of who you are, what you want to do. And as a result, other people can also tend to manipulate you or move you in different directions that you don't want to be moved to, just because you don't have a clear structure in place, and you're also very overly accommodating. So you tend to overly accommodate other people's needs without regard to your own. And that's obviously as a problem, and it can also lead to other problems such as a lack of power, a lack of sovereignty, a lack of independence, because you're just so immersed with other people. And this can also manifest as this lack of assertion to speak up for what you want to do or what you mean or what you would like. And the unfortunate truth is that many women that I've noticed, I work in the recruiting field, so this is staffing for different positions, a lot of them will be unable to speak up for higher pays that they would prefer. So they'll be willing to accept lower pay rates. Meanwhile, I'll have, for the same particular job, I will have a person with a lot of masculine energy. Usually a man will be on there, and he is a bit more assertive and more driving and more independent, and he will ask for a much higher pay rate. And he's really standing up for himself and what he expects he can achieve. And, as a recruiter, I'll just give them whatever they ask me. So it's kind of unfortunate that a lot of women that I've worked with will actually ask for a lower pay rate, and that's what they get. So that's just one aspect of it when you don't have that enough of that backing of the masculine energy. And another aspect you might notice is that if you have too much of that feminine energy and you're just like go with the flow too much, you're unable to pull yourself out of different bad moods that you're going through or different life situations because you're so immersed with everything. So you're unable to actually take a step back and observe life. So you're just caught in different cycles and different patterns, and life just goes up and down and up and down. And there's no constancy in there because you were just so much in the flow. I believe that in both masculine and feminine energy, there are a light side associated with that and also a dark side. So the very positive and light side or light quality of the feminine energy is radiance. So if you're around people that emanate a lot of feminine energy, their presence is really uplifting. So you look at them, like I mentioned earlier, and they just have this very contagious energy about them, but they're just so immersed with life, and you can't help but feel uplifted and energized. So it's really great. They want to be seen in a good light, and they also radiate their energy out, and other people love being in their presence, kind of like a flower in that aspect. Now, the dark side of this is trying to get energy or attention in any means possible, even if it's in a negative aspect. So this is why you'll see a lot of influencers, especially TikTok influencers, and totally judging you here. No, I'm kidding. A lot of them will post a lot of content just for likes or views, or they'll just do anything to get attention. So they might do something like totally crazy or wild or illegal just to get views or attention, and that's very highly feminine energy that is reactive, and it doesn't lack any it doesn't have any positive associations with it. And in a more darker light, this could also be you'll notice that a lot of women will typically get into abusive relationships. And the reason why is that some attention, even if it's negative, is better than no attention at all. Because if their partner left them, they would be completely alone. And because they haven't developed their masculine qualities, they are unable to really deal with themselves. That's why they will resort to someone who's a bit more abusive or mean to them, and they'll tend to go back because they don't want to be alone, right? So that's one very dark aspect of the feminine. And now let's move on to the masculine energy. So rather than be completely immersed in life, in the day-to-day activities of life and everything that's going on, the masculine energy, unlike the feminine, steps out of life. So it's a partial observer where it steps out to really formulate what does it want to do, where does it want to go, and then chart some courses and then go there. So it's not completely immersed in life, but it takes a step back and then derives some actionable steps and goes there. So the masculine energy is all about growth, and it's driven by freedom. So growth and freedom are two big things here. And a couple ways to really accomplish that is to step into fear and step into challenges. So that's one way the masculine grows. And this obviously makes a lot of sense when you observe, because a lot of activities that the masculine tends to enjoy tends to be more competitive and mostly like male dominated fields, like chess or football or boxing. These are traditionally male sports, but now obviously nowadays it's changing, but typically people with masculine energies really enjoys those types of activities because it allows them to really compete. And when they compete, they completely like let their whole selves go, and they step into this quality of bliss and emptiness. So the feminine is all about the fullness of life, like all about different, textures, fabrics, different subtleties, and being really connected with everything, while the masculine is more about the emptiness of life. And both are both blissful, but the masculine achieves that in a different way. The masculine energy is logical, action oriented, so it's an energy of doing, it's a forward moving energy, versus very receptive, which is a feminine. The masculine energy really wants to be respected, and it also wants to be useful. So it wants to be seen that it's valuable and it can actually have an effect in other people's lives. So when the masculine energy is healthy, this is actually a very energizing quality, because it's all about doing different things and accomplishing, when winning small battles every single day, achieving small victories, and you're constantly climbing away and achieving your goal. And if you have this forward momentum of positivity and success, you naturally tend to feel that you're really confident, on top of the world. These are, a lot of qualities that you'll find in a lot of highly masculine people, where they're completely driven, and they're on the up and up in life, and everything just feels great. And the masculine energy is very positive and uplifting. It's kind of like a go, go, go energy. And typically people that are constantly in motion and they're working towards different things, and they feel, they're completely like battling the different challenges, and they feel emptied out. They rarely ruminate over different things and feel like depressed or lethargic, because their energy, instead of being contracted, is expansive. So it's expanding outwards. And this energy, this type of energy, is very uplifting and also encouraging. The masculine energy is very decisive. It's very clear about what it wants, and it'll take a direct path on how to get there. And rather than be bogged down by different things, it's very resilient. And the reason why is that it steps out of life, as we discussed earlier. And because it has that ability to step out from life, nothing really affects it as much. So everything in the masculine is either like a feedback or a different way you can improve. So you don't take things like really personally, right? So for example, let's just say I'm playing a game like chess and I just lose a match. Well, instead of like being like depressed or really upset about it that I lost, instead I can use that as feedback. Oh, maybe this last game I should have moved my knight instead of my pawn, and I should have done this instead of that. So there are clear actionable steps, and everything is seen as a path to growth rather than something that affects you and your personal reality. So the masculine is very resilient, and it sees everything as actionable feedback steps. One quality that's associated with the masculine energy is strength, and this not only means like physical strength. Obviously, you can see that manifest in a lot of highly masculine people, but it also means emotional strength and also mental strength. So a lot of people aren't like super jacked or super buff, but they have a lot of they're also like seen as very masculine because they have that strength of mental toughness and also emotional toughness. And these are different qualities you can develop. So in addition to, working on your physical strength, you can also work on mental strength and also emotional strength. And these are other aspects other ways you can be viewed as more masculine. The masculine energy also really seeks peace and order. So meanwhile, the feminine really thrives in chaos and changing environments and different things going on. You'll typically notice the masculine is totally happy with peace and order. Like, hey, leave me alone. I just have, if I have beer and I'm just sitting back on my couch, I'm good. That's like the masculine way of freedom. Meanwhile, the feminine will like more things like, hey, let's go out here, let's do this, let's like have this chaos, and things are more like spontaneous and fluid. While the masculine, like I mentioned, steps out, so everything is just peaceful, all good. And one great gift of the masculine is, in terms of its forward-moving energy, is the energy of encouragement. And I've personally noticed this myself when I had different corporate jobs, or also when I used to do sports back in high school. If I lost, and I would kind of beat myself up, but I had a lot of masculine energy in that type of environment, where a lot of older mentors would come up to me like and try to encourage me and really pick me up and give me useful pointers on how to improve, and really energize me and uplift me. Now let's say you have a lot of this energy, so a lot of the masculine energy, without the backing of the feminine energy. So what does that look like? Well, now that looks like life just kind of loses its spark, because you're so disassociated with the everyday activities, because you're so intent on the goal that the little small things along the way just have no importance to you. So life just seems like one step after the next, and you're trying to achieve a goal, and each moment loses its appeal and spark to it. So life can seem kind of weary and also very gray. In addition, you can have a lot of burnout as well. So you're trying really hard, you're pushing yourself, that outward energy, and you're getting nothing back. So it could also mean that you're pushing yourself a bit too hard. And because the masculine is more focused on the logical aspect of life rather than the emotional. You'll tend to see life as more numbers and metrics, and life, like as I mentioned, loses that quality of spark and that joy from within. It could also result in a lack of empathy, because if you don't have this enough feminine energy of nurturing connection to other people, you will tend to disregard the feelings of others in favor of just doing whatever you want to do, and you can bulldoze other people. So that's one aspect, or the shadow aspect of too much masculinity without the backing of feminine energy. And with the masculine energy, there is, again, both a light side and a dark side, like I mentioned, the feminine energy. So with the dark side of masculine energy, this is where you're imposing yourself, right? That's a forward-moving energy, but you're imposing yourself on others and your environment in a negative aspect. So this is where things come in, like you're being too controlling, or you're trying to bulldoze other people, or things like, even like darker things like war and abuse. These are all aspects of the dark side of masculinity, right? Because you're imposing whatever you want to do upon other people in a negative fashion. But the flip side of that is now imposing yourself in a positive manner. And like I mentioned, this is the quality of encouragement, the quality of giving. This could be like a generous father providing for his children, or a boyfriend, paying for his girlfriend on a date, or whatever the case is. Giving yourself to other people, you're nurturing them, you're supporting them, you're being like a coach. These are all very positive aspects of the masculine, where you're uplifting other people through your intent, your will, and these are all masculine qualities. So you're using that forward-moving energy to now uplift other people alongside with you. So again, I hope you like this talk. This is, again, about the masculine and feminine energies, how to spot them in other people, and how you can see these qualities kind of play out, whether someone has the really healthy levels or if they're too far in the underdeveloped side or overdeveloped side. And you can see what they can work on, or what you can work on with yourself. And I actually do have 2 other talks where we actually talk about how to develop both your masculine energy and also your feminine energy. And this is a very interesting topic for me, so I'll be coming up with more talks on how to develop both aspects. So I hope you like this. Thank you.